Remove themselves from the list for today, and the following one would be Research Society of International Law. Sir, you're welcome to take the podium. You have 10 minutes to present yourself and to answer to any question posed by the committee.
Honorable Chair, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jamal Aziz, and I am the Executive Director of the Research Society of International Law, Pakistan. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to address this committee today as it takes up our request for consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. Our application was first considered by this committee in its resumed session in May 2017 and subsequently deferred on 3 occasions. I have come before this committee today, personally, all the way from Pakistan, to tell you about our unique journey as an organization. For our story is a story of perseverance and resilience, of battling against the odds. It is also a story, Mr. Chair, of hope and determination. A determination to see a better and more responsible Pakistan by providing impartial analysis and legal solutions to the key challenges facing our country. Mr. Chair, Pakistan today is facing key challenges on a range of issues, from climate change, governance, terrorism, and human rights, to territorial disputes, rule of law, migration, and trade. All of these issues feature a significant legal component and feature the intersection points between national and international law. However, there is a critical lack of capacity in the field of international law in Pakistan. As a developing country, we do not have a well-entrenched culture of legal research and analysis, and which has affected our policy response to these challenges, and contributed towards a trust deficit between the international community and Pakistan. It was in this context that RSIL was founded in 1993 by our president, Mr. Amir Bilal Sufi. The objective was to build greater awareness of international law at the federal, provincial, and institutional level in Pakistan so that our domestic and foreign policies can be improved and our reputation enhanced as a responsible member of the international community. Most importantly, Mr. Chair, our mandate was restricted right from the outset to providing legal analysis on the challenges facing Pakistan without engaging in partisanship or expressing any political bias. We started from humble beginnings. Initially, we failed to gain any traction for our ideas at government or international forums, and we were faced with closed doors. Our president, Mr. Bilal Sufi, spent many years funding his dream from his personal money, and our skeleton team worked part-time jobs to supplement their modest salaries. However, despite the adversity and despite the hardship, we did not waver in our belief that positive change can come about in Pakistan's domestic legal space. Slowly but surely, our efforts and sheer hard work began to make an impact. We have trained a generation of stakeholders in Pakistan in realizing the importance of the Chapter 7 framework of the UN, especially UN Security Council resolutions on counterterrorism and disarmament. Through our efforts, we have been instrumental in improving Pakistan's domestic implementation of UNSC resolutions 1373, 1267, and 1540. In the field of human rights, it was RSIL that played a key role in Pakistan ratifying the ICCPR, the Convention Against Torture, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Just this week, we concluded the largest ever and most exhaustive study on the Pakistan state practice on human rights and presented that to the Federal Ministry of Human Rights. Our president has also served as the chairperson of the UN Human Rights Council's Advisory Committee in Geneva. In respect of anti-money laundering and counterterrorism finances, RSIL has been instrumental in developing national legislation on this subject in Pakistan, and today we are training hundreds of lawyers, judges, investigators, and prosecutors on the FATF recommendations. We have played a key role in negotiating on behalf of G77 countries on the UN Convention Against Corruption and were responsible for implementing legislation in Pakistan after ratification. Since 2015, we have established the Conflict Law Center in Pakistan, which analyzes for the first time the legal aspects of counter-militancy operations in Pakistan and engages with domestic stakeholders to improve our track record in compliance with international humanitarian law. The paucity of time prevents me from elaborating further on our work, Mr. Chair. But RSIL has done similarly groundbreaking research and analysis in the field of climate change and environmental law, cross-border trade and investment, irregular migration and human trafficking, and has even contributed to constitutional amendments and Supreme Court jurisprudence on all these issues. Today, we have evolved into an elite research body and the largest legal think tank in the country. In the past 5 years alone, we have produced 50 reports and held over 80 specialized events in Pakistan on a broad range of issues. We are involved in teaching at the best universities in Pakistan and at government institutions like the Foreign Services and Civil Services Academy. The parliament in Pakistan, as well as provincial legislatures and the government.
Sir, I would just recommend that if you have 10 minutes.
Sir, I'll be done in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, sorry.
You will only have 3 minutes left.
Okay. So in conclusion, Mr. Chair, I belong to a generation of Pakistanis who have grown up watching our beloved country besieged by instability domestically while being vilified globally. I belong to a generation which has seen a trust deficit develop between the international community and Pakistan. But, Mr. Chair, I also belong to a generation of Pakistanis who are willing to dedicate their lives to chart a new direction for our country. A generation who wants to see a better Pakistan, a prosperous and more responsible Pakistan which conforms to its international legal obligations while protecting the rights and well-being of its own citizens. Our team of young, highly qualified lawyers are bright, energetic, and passionate. We are ready to chart new beginnings and new approaches to policy making in Pakistan. I believe consultative status with ECOSOC would benefit the committee because it would get to know about our work and we would get to know about the UN's global mandate and align our research accordingly. In fact, I believe we are the only private institution in Pakistan which is actively working to further the purposes of the UN Charter and are fully qualified to be considered for status under the spirit of ECOSOC Resolution 1996-31. In conclusion, we have prepared a consolidated report of all our activities of the past 5 years, our funding, our partners, all the plans. They're available with the committee. And I would humbly urge this committee to consider our request on merit and make an effort to better understand each other through the language of the law. Thank you, sir.
I thank the distinguished representative of the NGO for his presentation, and then I open the floor for any comments or questions from committee members. I recognize the distinguished delegate of India. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thanks to the distinguished representative of the NGO to come here and brief us in detail about your work. My question relates to actually question number 14 of the original application, where it has been said that the organization is deliberating on a formal membership framework, which shall include offering membership to different groups, organizations, corporate entities, institutions, and individuals. The proposed framework, it is written that it's expected to come to fruition towards the end of 2016. Do you have any update on this formal membership framework? Thank you.
You have the floor. You just need to press the button. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, distinguished delegate. No, at the moment, we do not have this membership framework. We've been wanting to do so for a long time, but like I said, it takes time to develop membership-based organizations, and we believe that through, when we started this initiative, the membership we thought was diluting from our core objectives. So at the moment, it is on pause, but we are focusing more on our core mandate.
I recognize the distinguished delegate of India. You have the floor, ma'am. Microphone for India.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your response. In the responses provided in writing on 15th of January this year, the organization has mentioned that there has been internal restructuring and change in the management process, which has led to a financial turnaround and better performance. It would be of great interest for the committee to know what are the changes and restructuring in the management that took place. Is there any change in the composition of the management as well as the decision-making process? Is there any change in the office bearers, both in their numbers as well as their respective responsibilities? And we would really appreciate this information to be provided to the committee in writing. Thank you.
I thank the representative of India for the question. We are almost out of time, so as we have received a request for a response in writing, you would have a couple of seconds to finalize your presentation if you would like.
Thank you, Chair. I understand the prerogative of states to request for additional information, and we will, of course, comply with all such requests. But at the same time, in my concluding remarks, I would just like to urge this committee to take into account the considerable time, effort, and expense borne by NGOs in making this thing. And, we hope that, we can be considered on merit. Madam, I will respond to your answers in writing because the paucity of time prevents me from going further. Thank you.